It's funny because I don't take the monorail often.
No. I've heard
It's
people
called
that'll,
Princess
like,
Parking.
do monorail hopping between all the hotels and stuff.
Well, now they require you to have a reservation to eat at the restaurant prior for you to be parking there. But I just decide to, like, if anything, I just say I'm going to the bar. I can't really change that.
I'm so glad I got people.
Because you don't need a reservation to sit at the bar at the gate. You need a reservation to eat there, but I don't need to drink there.
That's weird.
Because I think what they do is they have like they give you like a text back time to come back, so you can't really make that on the app.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because also, how are you supposed to verify that you're 21 and up? Because you can tell it doesn't work is like if you have an annual pass, it only passes out on age.
Yeah.
So
What if you're doing that?
exactly, so to confirm that you are of age to drink, you have to like go there, give your number, show your ID, and then they'll text you back and there's a spot available. Sounds like a pain, but I mean, not many people are going to bars.
Imagine doing R.S.O. in hybrid.
What?
You're going like,
It was warm outside, so I'm kind of like still cooling down from that. I'd say, I think once I sit down.
Let's say I give it 30 minutes. I agree with that.
I really think. What? Percent? I just finished off the session. And then next session, we'll just go.
Does anyone know when the deadline for them putting grades in on my computer?
The 16th.
Oh, yeah.
For the what? For
The grades. The professor's grades are due today, but they're gonna be available. No, by the 18th.
I know. Like, Steven was like, every day what's going on? I'm like, I don't like being the type of person like obsessively checking my grades, but like I really stress more about grades. Yes, but I need to make sure that it is like creating minus or something. I don't trust them. I need to get in the law school, man. The web course, like I still have a class with administrative on web course. And I'm like,
Yeah, they're not.
I'm like,
But I still haven't gotten my grades yet.
at least my professors have been pretty on top of it, I will say. They've been pretty good about like talking and giving feedback. It's just like your public policy, right? Yeah. Is it the same like public admin undergrad professors or different? I think a lot of them are the same. There's a lot of adjunct professors too, but like I guess the professors have to have a doctorate.
Yeah, but
I guess makes sense. Yeah. But like they're all really cool. Like the first day of class, they all sent us pictures of their dogs. And they were like, these are all of our pets. This is, blah, 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 blah.
that's awesome.
But it was really nice because, like, my one class, two of my classes was group work the entire time. So it wasn't even like, I was dying over it. There's a lot of essays and stuff. So I had like 2 25-page papers for final one.
Can everyone hear me? Am I muffled or like is my voice clear this time? So I know Nico, you're having trouble before. Go. It's so much better. Okay. Cool. Get started here. Hereby I hereby adjourn this meeting at 1:38 p.m. Anybody should go back to the business?
What, for attendance?
Oh, we need attendance. Yeah. That's all I did. Yeah. Motion.
Move to have a form check.
All right. There's been a motion to have a quorum check. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll be seeing that now. So.
All right. Chair Tifo?
Here.
I'm here. President Rosa? Here. Vice President Blanco? Here. Speaker Custis?
Here.
Chair Millington? Here. Chair Maldonado?
Here.
Chair Kaltenbach?
Here.
Vice Chair Hanson?
Here.
Senator Bonaducci, he's here. Senator Young, here. Senator St. Prue, present. Senator Savage,
He's
okay.
he's excused.
Student at large Grandau,
Here.
student at large Jimenez,
Here.
and then grad student at large Scott. Here. Okay, perfect. Wonderful.
You good? Yeah. Yeah, Nico, if you wanna speak just for a second, just to make sure your mic's working, feel free.
Sorry, I took off a mask. Hello? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think you were just on mute before, but we can hear you.
Oh, so I just meant for like quorum, like I said here twice. I don't know if that was heard.
Yeah, no, we got you.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. So is there a motion to go back to new business? Is there a motion to go back to the roundtable? Okay. And is there a motion for 10-minute speeches on the questioning and online debate? Okay. Is here representing for online. So also just for your all information, so there was a quick updated request packet that was sent to me. I did put it in the drive, so we might need to make some changes based on what was changed from the budget request packet that was just newly sent. So, but the new packet should be within the drive. So with that, Emily, if you want to take it away, sure to have access to share your screen. So whenever you're ready, I'll set the timer.
Point of inquiry.
Yeah.
We can't see it.
Oh.
Oh.
No. Okay, so I guess everyone just has to go on the Zoom calls here. Or-
So we all have to be on the Zoom call?
Yeah.
Joey, are the differences reflected in both like the budget bill Excel document and on the court specific one? Like this is the updated court one, right? Like this should have the update.
Oh, so yeah, I haven't put the updated just yet, but
Okay.
the budget request packet, because you just sent it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, so we can make those changes, on the presentation. I'm sure she'll have the changes too. So,
And then the newly updated one should be in the budget request packet file, right?
yeah, but I haven't reflected those.
Got it. Thank
budget
you.
requests yet.
Thank you very much. Oh, I see. There's two.
Okay, yeah. We have it pulled up now, Emily, so if you can hear me, feel free to present whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Beal, and I'm the Executive Director of Knights of the Round Table this year. So our mission is to serve as an administrative resources to all student organizations and as an advisory council to all students pursuing involvement during college. We do this by providing a leadership development program, providing cubicle and storage space, providing banking letters so they can have banking accounts, and providing NightQuest consultations so that students can find the right RSO or club for them. And we also build a bridge between students, RSOs, SGA agencies, and UCF resources with the goal to develop, educate, and inspire student leaders. Our requested budget for the upcoming fiscal year is the same as we were granted this year. We're asking for $5,250, which will cover training, development, retreats, office supplies, uniforms, promotional items, social media promotion, and other software. For OPS, this is the only section we are asking for an increased budget for. So we can increase according to the new minimum wage laws. So executive director would be increased to $11 an hour. Assistant director would be increased to $10.50 an hour. And we have 3 NightQuest consultants, and they would all have their pay increased to $10 an hour. And overall, this would cost $27,342.50. So next we have programming. Our biggest event of the year is opening night. This typically serves about 5,500 students, which is what it was in 2019, back before COVID. The budget we're asking for this is $6,000. This is held the night before classes start in the fall as a big tabling event held in the student union. We fill up the entire student union with RSOs, and students can walk through and find the right RSO for them. Our next one is leadership summits. We host these to educate and develop RSO leaders so that they can run their clubs efficiently and to the best of their ability. We host these bi-monthly, and they typically impact about 700 students a year. And some examples of leadership summits that we've held this year are on marketing and social media. We had one on accessibility and another one on banking. Those are just some examples of the kinds of summits we hold. For this, we are asking $2,000. This is not an increase from last year either. Next, we have Senate meet and greet. We are asking for $500 for this. This is an opportunity for students and RSOs to meet and discuss how Senate works, how funding works with senators one-to-one. It is held twice a year and typically impacts about 150 to 200 students during a non-COVID year. And it's really important in building a bridge between Senate and RSOs so that they can understand what resources Senate can provide for them. Okay. Okay, next is Fall and Spring Fest. This is, it's a tabling event that is a little different from our usual tabling events in that it is an opportunity for RSOs to bond with students. It lets them interact with students in a way that tabling doesn't allow them to. We're asking for $3,000 this year. It typically serves 20 to 50 RSOs a semester and over 500 students. We partner with other agencies on this to cover costs and increase marketing reach. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was going to. So next is Involvement Week. We are asking for $2,500 for this. It was originally a single event called Club Showcase, But last year, for the first time, we extended it over the length of a week so that we could incorporate more RSOs into the events and cater to specific interests that we weren't able to during opening night. Last year, we split this into 6 events. This year, to accommodate for COVID restrictions, we are making it into 10 events. And last year, we had 200 RSOs participate, which was nearly double the previous RSOs served in previous years. Next, we have the Impact Awards. We are asking for $3,000 for this. This is our award ceremony to recognize excellence within RSOs and student government agencies throughout the academic year. It's held in April, and it is catered by Earmark. And there are over 10 categories of RSO awards and over 100 RSO representatives present. RSOs get really excited about this event. They always love to apply and hear who's won. So in summary, we again are not asking for more than last year, except for the increase in OPS. So we are asking for overall $50,139.35. This is basically what we need to be able to function next year. So yeah, this is my contact information and my advisor's contact information. Below is our website, and yeah, that's it.
All right, we're now in line for questioning. So I see Custis has put in the chat. Am I muted? It says I'm muted. I guess I'm muted. I'm not sure if people on the web can hear me.
I'm gonna put a question in the minute.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if they can hear me because it says I'm muted.
We can hear you.
You hear me? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I see Emma put a question in the chat. So Custis, if you want to start with that, that'd be great. Whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you, Joey, and thank you, Emily. So I just have one question pertaining to the Senate meet and greets. This past spring, if I'm not mistaken, Senate actually paid for that. So I'm just curious, is the 500 going to be going toward both the Senate meet and greets in the fall and the spring?
That's a great question. So in the fall, we pay for that event, and in the spring, Senate pays for that event. So the $500 would be going towards one of the events.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Emily. I don't know if you have the numbers for this, but do you know how many students attended the fall Senate meet and greet? Not including the senators that attended.
This semester?
Yes.
So we had a lot fewer students this year due to the virtual aspect. We've been having less attendance, but we had about fewer than 20. But again, that's not normal for our meet and greets. It's been a very strange year.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yeah.
This is just kind of, my logic on it. I love the idea of the Senate meet and greet. My only concern is that it's not been proven effective during my time here in student government. Are you comfortable decreasing the amount for Senate meet and greet? Because I've attended 4 Senate meet and greets in my time, and I've not seen more than at least 30 students attend. And now it's considered, I know it's just a couple $100, but I feel like those couple $100 can go to a program that you guys succeed at more. And if anything, I'm okay with like the legislative branch actually doing both programs, if anything.
No,
I don't
that's
know
a
if you're,
great,
I don't know if you're comfortable with that as the director of court.
yeah. So regarding that, we are currently working on reworking Senate meet and greet to have more participants. Court considers this a very important connection between Senate and RSO student leaders. So I would not be comfortable with cutting that.
Okay, just asking a question.
Hi, Emily. Would I be mistaken to assume that the $500 goes for decorations and food in order to encourage students to attend the event?
No, it does.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, here. So I will not see that because I do have a quick question. Okay. So do you withdraw? Yeah. Okay. Cool. But Emily, because so I don't think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the total changed based on the new budget, or was there just program? Because I believe I still have the same totals from the original one you sent me compared to the new one, or yeah. So if you just want to clarify that end, I did not see any.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? You cut out a little bit.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So as far as when you sent the original budget request packet versus the one that you just sent today, was there? I didn't see any differences in the total. So I'm curious. I still don't know if there was, or if it was just the allocation, but overall the total was the same from the new budget packet. So clarification.
That's really strange. There was a change in OPS. So our OPS request is, let me pull it up again. $27,889.35. Is that what it says?
Yeah, that was from the original one you sent as well. So
Oh, it was specifically in the summary section. That may be
okay,
why.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think then, yeah, that I had it right.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. It's your mission now. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah.
So I do want to commend Person for bringing up the point. I know that, you know, as I also do, it's kind of hard to sometimes bring up things with like ideas, things you want to cut. The only thing I will say on that is I helped plan the first two, and catering is way more expensive than you think. If you don't have food or anything like that, don't make you all go atmosphere, no one's going to show up. So I mean, I really doubt we're going to have much of a debate over this. I really don't see it coming, you know, $250 or whatever from, you know, it's $500. Like, it's not that much. But again, I do want to commend you for saying something about it. But I would not vote in favor of cutting something like that. It's very tiny. They need the money, and also it's split between Senate and court. Like, there are good ways for students to get to know the senators regardless, because that's 20 students that maybe didn't know about Senate beforehand. And now, you know, they're going to change about student government, you know, it's needed.
Yeah, sorry.
And I can agree completely that the students do need to meet the senators, but the senators themselves don't even show up. I'm not saying to cut it as a whole. I think it just needs to be redone. And honestly, I personally think that the Senate meet and greet needs to fall under the legislative branch. That we as a Senate need to host it, so we can market it to other students. And I'm not saying that court hasn't done a great job. It's just that in the past 4 that I've attended, senators have not shown up, students have not shown up. So something needs to be done to either help out this event as a whole, which I believe court can do. But like, we also need to be realistic here. I don't want to have court plan an event that not even senators are going to show up to.
Yeah, real quick.
That sounds like an accountability problem, and then I get it from a leadership standpoint. I just don't think we should be kind of like support for anything like that. And maybe leadership should be more involved. Just in general, leadership should be more involved in the process of planning it, but I don't really want to cut $500.
I mean, I'm not saying to cut it, I'm just saying they can move it to a different program that would need more money.
Okay, yeah. it's
May I
right.
retain?
You may.
So I just want to speak highly in favor of keeping this budget as is. I think it's great. To Sierra and Natalia's points, I think with everything that's gone on this year, we as student leaders have had this incredible opportunity to rethink engagement. And, we can look at the bright side of COVID and say that we've done such an incredible job at looking at ways to re-engage students. From speaking to my colleagues across the state, we have learned that food brings attendance, and that's just the fact of the matter. So again, I'm in favor of keeping the budget as is. And, as both Sierra and Natalia stated, this might be a good opportunity for the next administrations to come together and really just rethink this event and maybe create some new creative outcomes with it, but still keeping the budget the same. And with that, I move to vote on budget lines 44 to 47.
I think it's 48.
Oh, sorry, mine says 47, but it's okay.
Okay.
Whatever the accurate one is.
Motion to approve budget lines 45 to 48. Are there any objections? Is that an objection?
Yeah, in the group chat, a lot of those on the webinar can't hear, so I don't know if they can hear the debate. So I don't think I feel comfortable going forward to vote when they can't hear what we're hearing.
Good point. Yeah, are you all able to? Because I'm looking at the chat now, and I see that popping up. But yeah, so I do see. Okay, there's hands. Valeria, yeah, if you want to say something real quick.
Yeah, I think just as an agency that works kind of within the same office as court, I'm in favor of the way that the budget is right now. I think that they are a really big asset to agencies and RSOs. There are RSO leaders that I know that really depend on the events that court does. I know that VUCF has depended on court for marketing, for being able to kind of give us a platform. And I think that they do really amazing work. And I think that that was a really great presentation. I can't really speak on the Senate bit, like the Senate meet and greet, because it's not something that I really know a lot about, but I'm hopeful that that's something that, moving forward in the future, there can be more of a partnership there. But I would just like to say I'm in favor of them getting their budget.
Thais, is that a piece of debate, or are you making a motion?
It's a piece of debate, but I can make the motion after that,
Okay,
if that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know, I feel like this is the time to kind of give praises to everything that you all do. And as a student that has participated on the meet and greet, and as a senator that participated in it too, I believe you do an amazing job with marketing, and even posting information after the event that has happened for the students. And I completely agree with the fact that you should take it for the next semesters, because I have seen the work that you have all done. With that, I move to approve the lines as they are.
Okay, there's been a motion, budget lines 45 to 48. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedure. All those in favor? Virtual panelists. Okay, with a vote count, budget lines have been approved. Right, that motion on.
Move to approve core as a whole.
All right. As a whole, are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. All those in favor? All against, and all abstaining, with a vote count of 14 to 0. Court's budget for fiscal year 21-22 has been approved. So thanks so much. Congratulations. Yeah, sure,
Can I make a quick clarification?
please.
Just something to note, only because I just want to give context for why I split that all up. So the thing is, when we're dealing with small chunks of money, or like agencies are allowed to move the money however they want. So like we can say, okay, we're gonna take $500 or whatever else, and like they could, cut it from somewhere else within the budget because, it's kind of like what, Zach said, like y'all are free to move it around however you need to. So that's one reason why I didn't really see the point of arguing over it too much, because really it was just gonna make them $500, poorer, and they weren't gonna really be able to. If they wanted the event, they're gonna be able to move the money around and do it regardless. So just to keep that in mind for line items as well. So like if they say like a certain amount is like for something, that's them giving an explanation, not necessarily like, we're not approving them putting that in their line items. We're just approving the overall. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's kind of right context.
Yeah, sure. Say that one. I can't hear you.
Oh, can I just add on to that? Is it something okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, although I agree, I still feel like it's student funds, and it's like every dollar counts, so although I agree that maybe $500 may not seem important in the grand scheme of a $20.7 million budget, I still feel like it's student funds, and if it's something important, we should take it seriously. That's just my opinion on it, regardless of the amount. Just remember when you guys are voting, even if it's a small amount, we do have to make cuts. We haven't cut anything yet, but we're gonna have to, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Another thing that I might start doing from now on, as far as debate, especially again what I reiterated in the group chat, is that any type of funds, I think having someone address it as a question or maybe a quick discussion, but anything further, especially if it's 500 or anything less, 1% of the budget is $207,000. So if we're talking about 5,000, 10,000, while it is important, especially to agencies, a lot of this can be moved around and worked out and collaborated at a later date. And I think kind of just elongating conversations on very minuscule amounts compared to the overall budget is just kind of, redundant. And I think, from now on, just please refrain from that. And I might stop, some of that debate going forward because we can work that out at a later date. Also, I was accidentally looking at the budget line and taking it as the row instead of looking at the actual budget line when I did make the decision for court. And I think I accidentally said 45 to 48. However, it was actually 43 to 47 or 44 to 47. I'm sorry. So if I can take a motion, I guess, to read, because I did misstate that number, if that's possible. Oh, is that a motion? Oh, okay. So
Move to reapprove line
44 to 47.
47.
There's been a motion to approve budget lines 44 to 47. Are there any objections? Seeing none, all those in we're now voting procedure. All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Okay. 0 to 0. These budget lines have been approved. And then one more step.
Yeah, I just want to say really quickly, whenever you're speaking, just try again to remind yourself to speak really clearly in the mic, just so we don't have repeating ourselves multiple times, not PCR, just everyone. And then to also just make sure whenever we're debating or asking questions, to be mindful of those who are on the Zoom as well, because I know they also want to say debate, and I know we're here in person, it's hard to keep track on the group chat and stuff like that, but I know we want to move things quickly, but just make sure that everyone has to give them a chance to say what they want to say. That's all. I'm sorry.
Is that a motion?
Just a question. Do
Yeah.
we need to reapprove court as a whole or not?
Yeah, I was.
Can I
You want to do that?
move to reapprove court as a whole?
All right, there's a motion to approve court, reapprove court as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedure. All those in favor? Against? All those abstaining with a vote count of 13 to 0 to 0. Has now officially been approved. Okay, so. Yeah, whenever you're ready. All right, so seeing the branch. So Sabrina and Steph are going to present here for us.
Can you put it?
Yeah.
It's been a long day, but are we having a good day? Oh my God, look at this. Thank you. Okay, hello everyone. Here is the 2021-22 Executive Branch Budget Proposal. So, next slide. You can't show me. Okay, so according to statutes, the purpose of the executive branch, here are just a few points. There's many a long list, but organize campus-wide events to promote UCF spirit and traditions, and additionally provide other means for students to discuss issues which include but are not limited to academic affairs, student health, graduate relations, campus safety, diversity, inclusion, sustainability, and more. A big fat head. We're good. Okay, so first line item is OPS. We are requesting $132,620. There's no change to what we've requested in years past. For context, once the new administration comes in around May, they pick their positions and they can choose to have $1 million or 4, however many positions they want for the executive cabinet. Again, for context, last year we had 18 cabinet members. Stephanie and I chose to deduct it by 2 for multiple reasons. One being the new office space, and there not really being enough space to have that many cabinet members in a collaborative space. But again, it's up to the discretion of each administration. Next slide, please. Okay, operations, we have $12,000 that we are requesting. Again, no change. This is a very important budget line. We use it for office essentials, retreat, cabinet necessities, our annual Chronos billing. This year, especially with the new office, and I anticipate this being something that the next administration will need as well. We've funded a lot of the decor, a lot of the equipment that we need, from things as small as latches for computers. Those are essentials that we need in the executive branch in order to fix the new office. And again, with COVID starting to ease up and a lot of our office being COVID-based right now, I anticipate more of those needs next semester as well. Next slide. Our student initiatives, again, no change. We're requesting $120,000. This includes our budget for each cabinet member or division, our general student government initiatives and programming. We do collaborate with a lot of agencies, and this is where most of that funding comes out of. And on our Excel sheet under student initiatives, there is a clear breakdown that explains it. And on the next slide, here are just some highlights of some of the events we've done this year. To the right, we have our away game watch parties, where we rented out the stadium and had the away game on this big screen. Our free grad photos, where we supplied students with e-confetti along with non-alcoholic champagne bottles to pop to have nicer photos. And our South Florida bus trip, where we took a bus to South Florida to meet our students who stayed home for the semester to make sure that campus engagement goes outside of Orlando as well. Presidential initiatives, this had a full reduction. We're not asking for any money for presidential initiatives this year for a few reasons. One, in the few years that Stephanie and I have been in student government, this line really just hasn't been utilized. Essentially, when the president and vice president have initiatives, we work with our coordinators and it comes out of that specific budget, which is why we really don't want to cut student initiatives, but we're willing to cut presidential initiatives. We supplemented it slightly, which you'll see in a few moments, on the emergency funding. There was a lot of debate from Senate last year about how much should be an emergency, and you kind of depend on the president to assume that if there were an emergency, that they would hopefully take it out of their own budget. And we felt that it was just better to scratch the presidential initiative line and then move into the emergency funding line. That way it's just clear cut in the right budget line. For governmental affairs, again, no change, $16,000. This is mostly for Day at the Capitol. I can't put into work a large budget for this event. There's a lot that goes into it this year. It's not going to be the same, but we're still going to try to bring that same atmosphere because it's virtual. In years past, we take multiple buses. You have to get food for children who have been up since 4 a.m. You get gifts for the legislators, and this is a very competitive thing on a state level where it's not a competition, but you are being judged against the other state university system schools. So this is a very important thing. The budget was raised substantially last year for that reason, and we ask that it stays the same because cross our fingers we'll have an in-person one next year. For lines 130, 132, and 133, we're asking for a $4,000 increase. The emergency allocations, as I discussed, we're asking to move it from 1 to 4, again, resupplementing it from presidential initiatives. Passing of the gavel, we're looking for a $1,000 increase, and Florida Student Association, which funds, us hosting the FSA, which is all the state institutions meeting or going to those trips with the different schools. And we do anticipate to use that this year as well. Our long-term contracts, that's $120,000. Again, no change. This is Lyft, LinkedIn. This year we added Lazy Techs. Last year, or actually under our administration, but still last fiscal year, we added more bikes for Bike and Gold, a grocery shuttle for downtown, and additional initiatives and having that wiggle room. With every contract that student government creates, it moves on to the next year unless that president chooses not to. So we like to leave a little wiggle room as well for new initiatives that come up as they did this year. For lines 135 and 136, we had a $10,500 decrease. We dropped the transition fund due to previous usage. Truthfully, there's always enough left over. And it's kind of the nice thing to do to leave the next administration some wiggle room to start their initiatives early. And that money usually goes to just some operational items of transitioning the office. And we also dropped the Scantron service by $10,000. Due to COVID, we haven't used it this year. We've restocked, and there's plenty to last for a good amount of time. And I know we wanted to have the executive branch kind of be the role model this year for budget hearings, so we thought that was going to be a good place to change that. And there's no change for our Universal Night Spring event, which is a $215,000 event. We have a contract with Universal, so that can't change. And overall, we're asking for $658,370, which is $14,500 less than years past. And I will happily take any questions.
And with that, we're now in line for questioning. I didn't get a chance to look at the agenda, so I'm not sure if anyone has questions.
There's nothing on the agenda.
Nothing? Okay. Anybody? Don't see any questions from the chat, so I'll start. Sierra, yeah.
I can type it.
Yeah.
If you need to as well. But have you all tried to negotiate or renegotiate the Universal Life contract? I know they keep raising it. I wasn't sure on the back end how that works with general counsel and stuff, but they keep raising it and they keep shutting down rides. So how is that?
Let Shane answer that one.
So just so you know is that they have indicated to us that we have a significantly low price point to it, and over the next several years, they would like to actually increase the cost of that program. And so that could be an issue with us having to balance the number of students we can allow into the event or not. And so it's an expense that I don't see decreasing negotiated in those other things that they have.
Yeah.
Questions? I don't see any in the chat, so I will take a motion. If not, yes, here. All right, there's a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah, it's here.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I've thought pretty much every single president, vice president duo on something with their budget, and I'm thoroughly impressed. It's not something I ever expected to say, not because of anything against the exec, but just in general, that's usually what we're usually comfortable talking about, right? So the fact that you all have come in here and you're already ready with cuts, and you are now at the lowest budget you've had since I've been here. The only worry I have, and I'm just going to voice it, is that I am concerned that the next administration is going to have issues with it, because I remember Josh and Jad complaining and Tyler and Maddie complaining about the amount of money that they didn't have.
So just, I guess, something to keep in mind, but I think that y'all have done a fantastic job and I am very impressed. And thank you so much for coming prepared with that, because I know I've been on y'all about that a lot and I very much appreciate it. So thank you. May I respond? Totally valid concern, and that's something we deeply talked about. The fact of the matter is, every president who has complained about having not enough money at the end of the year has that tens of thousands of dollars left over. And that's something that we've learned. And it's been great coming into that kind of money and then being able to start your initiatives early has been a really great benefit. With our COVID money left over and with initiatives, what we've learned is that this is the art of negotiation. This is the art of collaboration. So with most of our projects, we've been really fiscally responsible, and we hope that be the future with the next administrations, which is why we tried leaving student initiatives intact, which is what every administration has had in the past few years, give or take. So that's kind of why we kept it as is. And hopefully it's more than enough for the next administration, but that's why we played around more with Scantrons and that we've been more fiscally responsible in purchasing ahead this year.
And really quickly, I think also this is a different time. And so we understand, and that's why we were mindful when looking at our budget, is that it's COVID. And who knows if this is going to be here for a year, maybe 5, maybe 2 months, who knows? But either way, we had to be mindful of that. And I think, we understood that we had to take the brunt out of it, just so that we can, again, like give other entities the opportunity to do whatever they want.
I just have a quick point of information. Could you just repeat what Shane said, just because the people on the Zoom said that they couldn't hear you? Oh, well, couldn't hear Shane.
Oh, Shane, do you want to
The
come to the
microphone.
All right, Shane's coming up to the front real quick.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I apologize that you couldn't hear me. The question was originally is, have we looked at and considered renegotiating the contract with Universal Nights? And the answer is we've had conversations with them in the past, and what they've indicated to us is that the current price point that we have is significantly lower than what they give to most people. And so they are actually looking at how do they try to increase that contract, and we are kind of trying to hold them at as low a rate as we possibly can. So it looks more likely that in the future, if there's any changes, it's not going to go down, but they could push to have that try to increase.
All right. Shane.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to the exec, and I would be really in favor. I don't think any more decreases are necessary. I just want to say thank you for taking the lead on this. And with that, I move to approve line 121.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve budget lines 121 to 138. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. Awesome. Yeah. All those in favor? And all those against? Oh, wait, all those, yeah. With the vote count of everybody on the with a vote count of 11 to 0 to 2, these budget lines have been approved. Right, yeah.
I never heard you say abstaining. I don't know.
Say that one more time.
Like, I did not hear like any abstentions.
We told you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll try to reiterate that when we do like a final budget. I'll take a motion for that now. If there's any. Yeah. Yep. So motion to approve the executive branch's budget as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor? And all those against? And all those abstaining? Of 11 to 0 to 2, the executive branch's budget passes. So, yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Have a legislative branch next up. So, Talia, do you want me to do like I do with them? Share screen. Okay. Is there a motion for 10-minute presentation on the question and debate?
So moved.
Whenever you're ready.
I don't think it's on. Try again.
Barely? Okay, great. So like I was saying, Emma and I decided to go over the budgets once again after she was elected as speaker, because when we were thinking about budget cuts, we were like, well, what can the legislative branch do and what can we cut? So we did make some cuts in the legislative branch. So you can go on to the next one. So obviously for the legislative branch, for those that don't know, we have 72 senators that represent the colleges and schools here at UCF. We fund nearly 700 plus registered student organizations on all different campuses. We have the CRT committee, which funds conferences, registration, research presentations, and missions. Due to the pandemic, CRT has strictly been funding virtual conferences only. For FAO, the Financial Allocations for Organizations Committee, they fund promotional items, events, projects, and RSO showcases for RSOs here at UCF. And FAO has been funding with slight modifications during the pandemic. So still funding like before, just only with slight modifications. We also pass resolutions and proclamations that express the sentiment of the student body. And on top of that, we work on campus-wide projects while tackling college-specific initiatives, as well as increasing collaboration with our other branches. For line 146, which is our operations, Em and I really decided what can we do to kind of decrease funds. So this past year, due to the pandemic, our operations budget really hasn't gone anywhere. We haven't used much of it. So we kind of taken it upon ourselves to kind of use the remainder of that budget to buy all the office supplies we need for the next session. And so that the next session can use basically kind of restock what they need. So we decreased our office supplies budget from 1,500 to 800. For uniforms, in the past, it was very popular to get polos. Last year, the Senate got jackets, and that cost a lot of money. But this past year, we decided to repurchase new polos with the correct branding, and essentially just exclude jackets as a whole and only get name tags for the leadership, which excludes the caucus chairs and the caucus vice chairs. So the only people who can get the name tags are the standing committees and standing committee chairs and vice chairs and the deputies, assistants, pro tempore speaker. It used to be 4,500 for uniforms. We decreased that by 1,000 only because we have a lot left from what we just purchased. And the next Senate will have to follow the same brand guidelines as the session. So it only cost us roughly that amount of money to get new polos for the entire Senate. And with advertising and promotion, that budget was going to be primarily to get a new banner, but thankfully, Chief of Staff Regan got brand new banners for all of our branches. So a lot of our advertising and promo will be done in smaller ways. So we overall decreased 1,900 from operations. With OPS, we kind of decided to do the same thing. All of our pay was increased last year to $10. So the only thing we decided to do was really just kind of cut the hours per week for the legislative assistants and the deputies. Obviously, like I had consulted with both my deputies in the past and with the and asked assistants from years passing, do you truly use all of your 12 hours? Most of them said no. So Emma and myself took it upon ourselves to just say, yeah, we'll just increase it to 10 hours per week. And in the previous budget year, the assistants and the deputies were working 38 weeks per year. We decided to drop them to 36 weeks per year to not go in line with the chairs and both fiscal and internal chairs. The internal chairs will remain at 6 hours per week. The fiscal chairs will still remain at 12 hours per week because they still do a lot more work than the fiscal chair, than the internal chairs. And then we're keeping our same pay and our same rate as speaker and pro tempore. but it's an overall decrease of $2,727. With CRT, obviously, if you guys remember from this past spring, there was a lot of debate in regards to the registration and travel fund to increase it to $700,000. In past, the reason why CRT has run out of money so fast is because no one has really maintained or managed that budget. This year, we took it upon ourselves to make sure that the CRT and FAO chairs are very diligent with how they're budgeting their committees and how much they are spending. So we've decided to decrease back to the original request last year, which was $680,000, and FAO to be $3,500. Only reason because if the case that CRT does run out of money next year, in the case that UCF allows travel again, FAO will be more than likely to give that money over to CRT. But obviously, we did not expect the pandemic to happen this year, and CRT hasn't even broken $100,000. So it'll basically be remain the same. For the Senate Leadership Council, we did have a line for the banquet for SLC. Emma and I discussed this. Since the ILA oversees the SLC program, she decided that it would just be easier to take upon that expense in the speaker's office. So essentially, if the SLC team wants to have a banquet, it would come out of speakers' initiatives. And that was something that if Emma wants to speak on, she can. Emma?
Sure. I wasn't planning on speaking on it, but yeah, Natalia and I, after discussing the budget, decided that the ILA does fall under the speaker's office. And so if the ILA and speaker find it necessary at the time, that the banquet or refreshments for SLC can come under the speaker's initiatives budget.
And then we still decided to remain the uniforms at $500. So overall, it's just gonna be a decrease of $500. And then for retreats, this is something that Emma and I extensively discussed just because in past, we understand the need for retreats and how important it is, and it's truly correct. Just the amount of money that we were spending on retreat was insane, and we really weren't using it. In the past, also, we do have a Senate retreat and then a Senate leadership retreat. Emma and I discussed it ourselves. We're okay doing leadership seminars, but having a whole retreat just for leadership is just spending money that is just kind of unnecessary. And if we need to make cuts, both her and I are comfortable making these cuts here. So of course we will have the spring retreat, which now that we have moved Senate elections to the spring, that will be the retreat that will be transitioning all new senators into the Senate. The summer retreat brought down to $500. That's more of like a refresh for senators that either had, got a sign over, or maybe, we had some appointments coming in. And then of course the fall retreat will just be the retreat that kind of needs to have every single semester according to statutes. So overall, we're decreasing the retreats by $1,200. And there we go. Okay. So banquets. So for senators in past, there usually has been a banquet in the spring semester, which would end the Senate session or commemorate the Senate session for those graduating. Now that Senate has changed their election process, this banquet would be now held in the fall semester. We have kept the full $1,500 for food because we do agree that food and catering is expensive. So that's something that we definitely need to keep in mind. Awards, we're keeping it at $150 because that's how much it was in the year past. We are decreasing, and by removing the venue for Senate banquet in years past, at least in the past couple that I've been aware of, it's been held in the arena, not the arena, the stadium, the little banquet room in the stadium, which has cost apparently $1,350. I see no reason why Senate can't use an A&SF funded location like the Pegasus Ballroom, especially now that we're in COVID and we just need more space for social distancing and all that fun stuff. So Emma and I took it upon ourselves to remove the venue, which will decrease by $1,350. And then speakers initiative. So it was 2,500. In this past budget year, the budget hasn't been used at all. So if anything needs to be purchased for the speaker, oops, sorry.
So the original allotted time is ended. However, someone wants to make a motion. Yeah, that.
Motion to extend time to 3 minutes.
Okay, is there a motion to extend presentation time for additional 3 minutes? Are there any objections? Seeing none.
So like I was saying, thank you, Stephanie. So in this past year, the budget has been used entirely. In 2019-2020 budget year, when it was both Christian Padron and Shapiro as speaker, there was still $600 left in their budget. And then this past fiscal year, it wasn't used at all. So we decided to decrease it by 500 because if there's anything that needs to be purchased, Emma will purchase it this year in our budget year, and then the next speaker can then work off what has been already been spent. Or budget, prepare something at that point. So the overall changes we are doing, we're decreasing our budget by 9,390. And I'm pretty sure that's it. And if you have any questions, both Emma and I are open to questions.
All right. So with that, we are now in line for questioning. And stop sharing my screen. Look at the chat. All right, Thais. I see. Yeah, you have a question. So
Yes. So I apologize because I know this has been like a point of debate, not to argue about like little things, but I do believe in a student's right to be paid fairly for their work. And I was wondering if it's actually true that fiscal chairs work exactly 12 hours or they do work more than that and it's just being like undercounted. I don't know.
I mean, formally as a fiscal chair, I worked, if anything, more than 12 hours. It's been different, of course, due to the pandemic. Both Leslie, Jared, and Stephen can attest to that. During the full-fledged year, when I would be seeing, I would say, 8, maybe 12 allocations per week, and then having to do the tracker on top of that, and having to make sure that's sent to the business office. Collectively answering emails, that would be, if anything, over 12 hours. But 12 hours is basically the hours we decided to go with. Because internal chairs, they do their committees, and then they can clock in, I think, for like up to 2 hours for Senate and answer some emails. But fiscal chairs have to email RSOs, how many students email the CRT chair. It takes hours to respond to them. On top of that, they have to meet their committees can last up to 4 hours long. If anybody knows CRT from the past, CRT lasted nearly 5 hours one time. FAO has lasted 3 hours. And then you have the time needed to input all that information into the tracker and then send that to Brenda over at A&SF. That alone, at least whenever I would do the tracker, it took me roughly 2 hours because just making sure that every single cent is proper in the tracker so that A&SF knows exactly what they are allocating to students.
I'm going to go ahead and hop on to that answer too. This isn't to say that internal chairs don't do any work. Internal chairs do work as well. The reason we kept it the same was just to be consistent from years prior. If you guys would like to give us more money, we're not going to disagree to that, but that's kind of the reasoning behind as to why we kept it the same.
I don't any other questions. So anything else?
Move to debate.
Yeah. There's a motion to move to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah, so
I just wanted to commend Natalia and Emma for doing an amazing job in the budget. I know as speaking as one of the head branches, it's really hard to cut from your own budget because of course you want to do so much, but this is a different time. And so I appreciate the fact that both of you are very mindful of that. And I think every cut is it's definitely justifiable. So I really want to speak highly in favor to approve this budget.
And I do see in the chat, Thais has a piece of debate. So whenever you're ready.
Again, it kind of like hurts me to see like decreases in Senate as the way that I see it. I completely respect like the decisions that were made by like Emma and Natalia. And I do believe that Senate is one of those like agencies / committees that don't spend a lot of money into their members. And I see that most of the cuts were made in salaries and as well as other areas that do benefit like the senators themselves. I do want to get like people's opinion on like raising the hours that we are allocating for like fiscal chair and internal chairs, just because I believe that students, no matter what role they play on the university, should be paid fairly for the work that they do. And increasing the amount of hours that they are going to be paid doesn't mean that they are going to be working more or gaining more money. It's just like if they work 20 hours a week, they do have the option of like clocking in 20 hours a week and being paid for what they did.
I'll have a brief discussion on this, and then I'll take a motion. Yeah, it's me.
A few things. First, just sticking with the normal debate, Natalia and Emma, beautiful job. What a lot of you may not see because, you know, you're not in those meetings with us with our branch head meetings, but the efforts that they're making in organizing the legislative branch, it shows in this document as well. So I want to commend you for such incredible work because as Stephanie said, it's not easy to make cuts to your own branch and it hurts, but I think you're being and showing a great example to the student body. And I think as Stephanie said, everything's justifiable. So I commend both of you on an incredible job. In regards to what Thais is referring to, Thais, I think you bring up really great points and, you know, looking out for students. But again, when branch heads come forward and they bring these cuts, it's things that they've deeply evaluated. And, you know, when you cut your own, normally people ask for more and assume that we're going to sit here and make cuts. When you cut your own branch, it hurts. It's like every penny you lose is, you know, you're thinking of an initiative that could be gone, a senator that you might lose because of payment, you know, all those things come into consideration. And I think keeping the budget as is really just emphasizes and shows the hard work that Emma and Natalia put into this. And additionally, we have to have our hourly caps on our coordinators, on our directors, on our chairs. In student government and the executive branch, we have our coordinators at 15 hours maximum. Now, we're flexible in the sense that our OPS can take it if, you know, if 1 week you have an event and you need to work a few extra hours, we're able to do it. And then, you know, next pay period, you have to cut that down. So there is flexibility within the OPS budget in that sense, but there are hourly caps between that. So the speaker is going to work more than the chair, and that chair might work more than another chair. So those things do come into account. And I think this budget's outlined beautifully. So my suggestion and where I will be voting is no changes to this budget. Thank you.
And then I just kind of wanted to say one more thing on top of that. So people know if you've been on A&SF in the past, legislative does not really spend a lot of their OPS just because of the whole turnaround point. So it's not that we don't want to increase our hours, is that until we see progress in legislative spending the overall OPS budget, there's no reason to increase their hours, because that means that either the chairs are not clocking in when they should be, or I honestly don't know what the other case would be. But until we have all the chairs clocked, because here's the thing. I mean, last year we saw it alone. I don't think legislative broke maybe $40,000 OPS. I'm not saying that we should decrease OPS for legislative, but it's something to consider. That's why we did not increase the hours, because until we have more people clocking in, or more, at least hopefully for the next, since the Senate elections are being moved and new leadership will be elected in when the new fiscal year starts, maybe we'll see more consistency with clocking in and all this kind of stuff. But I don't see a reason to increase OPS and the hours for the internal chairs if the money is not currently being spent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll take one more piece of debate and then a motion. Those here? Yeah, go for it.
I don't want to age myself by saying back in my day, because that makes me sound like I'm ancient, but back in my day, the way that chairs were paid, and I have been a chair, so I've been in everyone's shoes, but you're not supposed to be able to make an entire living off of your chair duties, because there are plenty of other things you should also be doing. That's supposed to be like a supplement. So keeping that in mind, I definitely think everyone should be compensated for the amount of work that they're doing, but at the same time, we just need to be mindful of how much money we have. Thais, I will say, just as a proposal, if you still feel this strongly, maybe propose it at the end of budget hearings. If that's something you feel so strongly towards, because we still have cuts to make, and I don't really feel comfortable adding things to a budget without even making the cuts that we need to break even. And I also want to make sure we're respecting our Senate leadership as well, and their decisions and their hard decisions they had to make. So with that, move to approve lines 146 through 154.
Yep.
Sorry.
There's a motion to approve budget lines 146 to 154. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. All those in favor? All those against? Abstaining? With a vote count of 11 to 0 to 2, these. So, stop.
Move to approve the legislative branch as a whole.
Right. Entirety of what? Any objections? Seeing none? And all those against and all those abstaining. With a vote count of 12 to 0 to 2, the overall budget has been approved. So, all right, good stuff. As a department, it is student legal services. They were scheduled originally for 3. However, there is a gap period from 3 o'clock to 3:30. I did reach out to them since we do have 15 minutes till 3. If they want to present beforehand, since we are running a little bit early on time. So don't think I got a response just yet, but so as of now, because I didn't get a response, just take it. We'll see them earlier. Oh, yep.
At 3.
Yeah. So instead of, because we were originally going to see them, since we had like a empty time slot during 3 to 3:30. So we'll just move them to see them at 3. So, as I'm talking, they just said they'll be there at 3. So I guess during this time, yeah. So
Can I make a motion to go to recess until 3?
I'd say 2:55.
2:55.
Right. Is there a motion to go to recess until 2:55? Are there any objections? No. All right. Seeing none, we are now having a little break. Till 3. adjourn this meeting instead of reconvene?
Announce that it was.
Oh, well.
I had to look it up though, because I was like, I don't know the word either.
Yeah, this is recorded, so. Sorry. I've said
It was pretty funny.
Alright. I'm telling you.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Bless you.
Sabrina, you good? Yeah. Never. All right. Natalia? All right. I reconvene this meeting at 3:03 p.m. Just to check, and everybody online hear me okay? Just, if someone says yes, I'll be fine. Okay. Cool. All right, awesome. So yeah, we'll be seeing Student Legal Services next, and they will be our last presentation for today. And then, we'll have a kind of recap and finalization of everything we discussed today. But I'm not sure if they're in the... I know they're attending online. I don't see them in the participants. I'm not sure. I believe Patricia is representing Student Legal Services. So, Patricia, if you're here on the call, if you can hear me, or if you're on.
As an attendee, not a panelist.
Oh, I'm listening. I know I did tell them last minute to meet at 3. Oh, here, they're here. Okay, perfect. All right. So our department would encourage, or I would like to have them present for about 15 minutes. So is there a motion for 15 minutes presentations, unlimited questioning, and unlimited debate?
So moved.
All right. So with that, Patricia, if you're able to share your screen, I think you should have access, but please let us know if you don't. But yeah, if you are able to share your screen, I'll set the timer whenever you start talking. No access? Okay. We'll work on that real quick.
I promoted her to a panelist. I'm not sure if I was allowed to do that, but
That's pulled up now. All right, so that's here. But Patricia, whenever you're ready, you can.
I'm ready, thank you.
Right.
So basically, I'm representing the Office of Student Legal Services. We have been in existence for a little bit over 40 years, and we are staffed by 4 full-time attorneys and 3 full-time legal assistants, as well as student assistants. And we can pretty much help any student who comes to us within one of the covered areas, so long as they have paid activity.
Hey, Patricia, can you? I'm sorry to cut you off. Can you speak a little louder? We're having a little trouble to hear you.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me better now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So basically, we provide services in different areas of the law. Landlord, tenant, and traffic are 2 of the areas of greatest demand. Landlord, tenant, we can help students getting their security deposits back, defending actions by the landlord against the student for a claim for damages, habitability issues, and defending lawsuits for eviction. With criminal cases, we can help students who are charged with a misdemeanor up to a felony of the 3rd degree. So that would include things such as possession of alcohol by a minor, DUI, resisting arrest, fake IDs, driving with a suspended driver's license, etc. Also, because most of the students who come to see us are first-time offenders, they will often qualify to have the criminal record sealed or expunged if they wish. So that's another service that we provide. Traffic tickets basically are non-criminal traffic cases. In those situations, we try to help the student, if we can, dismiss it, if not, to at least get a withhold of adjudication so the student does not have points on their record and it does not affect their insurance rates. Consumer issues covers a wide variety of cases, such as debt collection, if a student is being sued by a creditor on a credit card debt, or because maybe the car was repossessed and they're being sued on deficiency, or maybe a breach of warranty case or a problem with their credit report. So you could cover a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, so you could cover a myriad of cases. Family law, we do name changes, some divorces, and some adoptions. And then miscellaneous pretty much covers things like drafting a will, power of attorney, designation of a healthcare surrogate, unemployment compensation, and trying to get wages maybe that a student hasn't been paid, try to have the student get those wages paid to them. Matters that we do not handle would be student versus student, because since all students pay activity and service fee, would be a conflict of interest. And then student versus UCF, such as student conduct, cannot represent students at a student conduct hearing, or like personal injury cases, because in those situations, most students have available to them private attorneys who can take their case on a contingency basis without the student having to pay up front. So the next slide shows the numbers of cases we opened during the last fiscal year, and shows a breakdown. So over 50% was landlord-tenant cases and traffic, and then close to a quarter would be family, consumer issues, and criminal cases. This slide shows some of the savings that we are able to obtain for students. So those things include like savings from the student coming to seek our services versus having to pay an outside attorney, as well as recoveries to the students. So recoveries can be things such as the student getting paid a security deposit, or if we're able to terminate a lease early and the student does not have to pay the remainder of the lease, the rent that the student does not have to pay out would be considered a saving. Name changes, so we do quite a few of those. So we did 23. So like family law is about 7% of what we do. So the name changes also include name changes for transgender students. So 10 of those 23 were for transgender students. And in those situations, we also guide the student on how to go about changing their gender marker on their legal documents like birth certificate, social security, driver's license, etc. Then our clients' demographics, more than 50% of our students who seek our assistance are male. And then a large majority of them identify as members of minority groups. And then you can also see the large percentage of first generation Pell Grant out of state international students. So these are some of the students who perhaps would have more need. They're not as knowledgeable of the legal system, being an international student as other students would be. Maybe they have some language barriers, as well as being an economically disadvantaged group. Effects of COVID. So our numbers for the fall did go down somewhat. So now we are at 78% of what we were last year. We saw a very significant decrease in the number of traffic cases, which is like one of the type of cases we see, with students being away at home and not driving as much. So we saw a significant decrease. And we also saw a decrease in criminal cases, again, with part of clubs being closed, football games not occurring, and that sort of thing. Then we saw a decrease in those types of cases. Shortly after we were basically all sent home, we started like thinking of ways that we could reach out to students and provide some resources. So we came up with a virtual lunch with your attorney series where we would present different topics for students. And we did that on our own, as well as in collaboration with other departments such as LGBTQ+, UCF Global, Sensible Knights, and the Legal Aid Association of Orange County. So some of the topics we presented, you can see on this graph. And we got a pretty good response. So we actually got more people attending virtually than we ever did when we did these presentations in person. So that's a positive thing and something that we expect that we're going to continue doing for the spring semester as well, coming up with other topics, probably insurance, credit, what affects your credit score, scam payments, those types of topics that we're planning on covering in the near future. So when we finish a case, we sent the students a survey asking them how they felt about the services they received. So part of what we do is also educational, so not just helping the student with the issue at hand, but also providing some background and just some general knowledge. And 93% of the students felt that they had gained a better understanding as a result of having their legal issues addressed by us. And 89% felt better equipped to deal with a similar situation in the future. And 94% reported feeling satisfied with their experience and with the attorney that was assigned to their case. So these are some of the comments the students had regarding the attorneys who helped them in their cases. So in addition to providing legal services and general educational outreach, we also provide notary services to students, semester-long internships for students who are in the legal studies program, and semester-long internships for law school students who want to do an internship with us. And that concludes my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
All right, thank you so much. We are now in line for questioning. So I do see a question right now. I'll start with anybody online or our online virtual panelists. If anyone wishes to write something in the chat, has the opportunity. If not, I will look to everybody here. Okay. All right, Sierra, you want to go ahead?
First off, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and present to us. I always really look forward to the SLS presentation. It's definitely one of the highlights. My question for you is, I'm looking through their budget request packet, and I see that there is $4,000 that's put towards advertising and promotion. What strategies have you all employed to promote your services and your material, even beyond just what has been offered for this pandemic?
So we always are present at the orientation for like first year students and for transfer students. And we are there and we provide some articles for the students, whether it be cups or pens or keychains. Also, when there's anything done by another group, whether it be OSI, if they ask, if they ask us to contribute, we'll be there. Like we'll have like a game, like test your legal knowledge. And then if the student replies correctly, they can try it many times, and we'll give them like a T-shirt or something like that. So we are pretty much very involved. Like if anybody does something and they want us to show up, we'll be there. So in the past, like SGA did Know Your Rights, so we table at that as well. So anything else for me? We did light up the night in the past. So basically,
if we're asked, we're there.
Yeah, if you ask us, we'll be there, and we'll provide articles that advertise what we do and telling students what we do.
Do the $4,000, does that go specifically towards promotional material? Yes. Or do you buy like online ads or anything as well, or is it $4,000 specifically for promo items?
We haven't bought online ads. Like we bought T-shirts, like keychains, cups, pens, reusable bags.
We don't do any social media promotion.
But we
put that way with paid ads. We don't do paid ads.
We don't do the paid ads portion of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good.
Hi, Patricia. Thank you so much for your presentation. Can you go a little bit more in depth on what the decrease in your budget is this time? Just because this year it's 656, and then you requested 653,000. So I just kind of wanted to know what the decrease was.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, I just wanted to know what the decrease was for what you requested this time around, because now. The decrease. Yeah.
Okay. So I think the decrease is as a result of the contributions for like our healthcare and things like that have decreased. So I think that's the result. That's what there's a decrease showing, because we're contributing less to health insurance and things like that. I think that's what the decrease is. I think pretty much everything else stayed the same.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome.
Hi, Steve. You said you had something to ask. Oh, wait. Actually, no, I don't think so. If not, I don't see any other questions, so I'll take a motion. Yeah, awesome.
Move to debate.
All right, motion go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. It's here.
So I'm not going to propose any sort of changes or cuts, but I wanted on the record saying that I would love for the for the promo items and the advertising budget to be used a little better. I think $4,000 is a lot, considering I feel like there's probably a lot of what's the word? I guess turnover in terms of like getting to use the same items a lot. So my hope is that with this pandemic, and I know that y'all have done a whole lot of really good work in terms of getting students to come out to online events. So I'm hoping that maybe y'all can utilize online advertisements of your social media a little bit more. I do think that SLS is probably the most underrated department that we have. Y'all do so much good, and I know a lot of students who don't know what your services are, especially with the landlord-tenant stuff. No one really knows about that unless you're right in the middle of it, and by then it might be too late. So my hope is just that you use that $4,000 a little bit better. I'm not going to try to cut it or anything, but I would like to see that for the upcoming year.
Great. Thank you. Anything else? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Say it again?
I was going to make a motion.
Yeah, go for it. All right, there's been a motion to approve budget lines 157 to 161. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? With a vote count of 13 to 0 to 0, these budget lines are approved. Seth?
Move to approve SLS as a whole.
All right, there's a motion to approve SLS as a whole, with the total budget. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor? And all those against? All those abstaining. Same vote count, so the vote count of 12 to 0 to 0. Congratulations, your overall budget has been approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.
With that, we are finished with all the plans, presentations for today. However, if I know, Brenda, if you know, I know that you are ready whenever. If you, okay, so tomorrow's fine. Okay, no problem. I mean, I could honestly knock out the activity and service fee presentation because I do think I'm scheduled like some coming up for tomorrow. But like since we do have a lot of time left, might as well kind of knock that out because tomorrow could be a busy day since we are seeing three massive departments. So yeah, if everyone is kind of in agreement with that, I could just go ahead. I can spoiler alert, nothing has changed. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, so sure.
Move to see A&SF budget committee.
Okay. There's been a motion to see the A&SF budget committee's request. Okay. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now there. All right, I think I'm gonna have to yield the chair to Natalia.
I have a point of
Yeah.
information or an inquiry.
Yeah.
Correction, sorry. Where on the budget bill document could I find that? Because I don't see the budget lines and I could just be blind, but. Yeah, I know it's
110.
It's at the end, right?
111 to 113.
Thank you. It was under student government, sorry. Yeah, it was because I was looking under A, but it was under S for student government.
All right.
Thank you all.
So I guess like if you want to take minutes or something else. Fine.
What? I can take minutes.
Oh, you want to go? Just since I will be chairing. I guess I can stay here. Yeah, that's fine.
Sabrina, you got it?
Yeah. No worries.
So complicated.
All right, Joey, just let me know when you're ready and your 10 minutes will begin.
So, February, the items that are sent to the question committee, it's pretty straightforward. I think that there isn't really any changes from last year. And so I'll just briefly talk about what our job is. Hopefully, you all should kind of get this. Essentially, our committee facilitates the overall process for the activity and service to the overall budget. It's our job to be stewards and
Joey, they can't hear you, sweetie.
oh, they can't. Oh, yeah. Don't forget. Can you guys hear me now? Can't really see the chat. So one second. Okay. Yeah. So just picking back off of just our essential role as a committee, we basically are just here to ensure that we put together a budget recommendation based on the budget request submitted by all the different, ASF entities, including the 5 departments, 5 student government bodies, and 8 agencies. And, it's our role to just be responsible stewards, ensure that, everything is being allocated properly, making sure that, having justifications for what is being requested for certain budget lines. This is definitely a role to be independent, or the intention is to be independent from any type of student government entity or agency department, even though a lot of us do come from different ASF entities, in particular student government. It is our job to be, independent and, be just straightforward and unbiased in this process. This job, and I hope a lot of you guys maybe can attest to this. I know personally for me, my tenure being chair has definitely widened my, knowledge overall on the just how big the ASF budget really is and how much it actually goes into it, and just the bigger picture overall is definitely fascinating, and it really is just humbling to know that we are making a big impact, whether you believe it or not. And so that impact definitely has responsibility, and also just making sure that we are being fair, unbiased, and making the right decisions and being responsible. So I think all those aspects are essential. And as far as being on this committee, and I do want to say everyone has done a great job so far. So into the budget requests again, I haven't really changed anything from last year. For OPS, the wage, so the chair is the only one that gets paid. It was $11.50, so over the minimum wage increase. I didn't think it was necessary to change that at all, so I just left it the same. And so, as well as the same hours. So that would just be the $688 seen overall. And the operations, primarily used for, the catering, that was for the vouchers that were purchased, as well as, any type of table mats or the table curtains, and anything else that's decorations needed for hearings. I know this year it was less need to expend or to purchase things, just because we're doing a hybrid modality, and some of us are virtual attendance, so there was less need to spend. However, next year we don't know what the future might bring. Hopefully everything will be back to normal at that point, and so that's why I didn't really think it was necessary to change the overall operations budget. So that's why it's the same. And yeah, and so the total would be, to the $2,389, and that's pretty much it. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, we're now in line for questioning. Is there anyone from the chat virtually that want to ask a question, or anyone here? Bro? I don't have the Zoom up, so I don't know if there's any questions. Perfect. I'll take a motion. Move to debate. There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Sierra,
Move to approve lines 111 to 113.
there's been a motion to approve line items 111 to 113. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. Raise your hand for yes. Okay, someone's gonna help me out here with the people online because I don't have to bring up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Joey, how many voted on there? 5? 6? Yeah, I can't count and I can't see. 6 online. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's 14 to 0 to 0.
Yeah, I'll say
You abstained. So 15 to 0.
14 0 to 1.
14 to 0 to 1. All right. And then Ro,
Move to approve A&SF as a whole.
there's been a motion to approve A&SF as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All right, looks like the same, correct? Okay, so the vote count of 14 to 0 to 1, A&SF has been approved as a whole. And with that, I hereby yield back to Chair Tufo.
Yeah, so I said, I was supposed to tomorrow, but just might as well get that over with or get that out of the way. So we are done with presentations for today. However, if we would like to just go back and have a recap on all the decisions we've made, if there's any just discussions that want to be brought up, yeah, so I guess yeah.
I just wanted to make like one point to maybe potentially if anybody was interested. I know that there was kind of a discussion in the middle of one of the presentations about how we evaluate the budget. And the fact of the matter is tomorrow we're going to be seeing 3 very large departments and a large sum of money. So I just kind of wanted to open the floor if anybody was interested in talking about it and us kind of, just reevaluating where we're at as a committee. I think tomorrow we really want to have fruitful debate and we obviously want, there's been a lot of points made today and I agree with everyone that we have to be looking at the budgets. But again, I think we also need to go back to the discussion of what dollar amount is worth the argument and reevaluating the fact that, this was something that came up last year for context with the executive branch of the emergency allocation fund. So there was $1,000 and we were nitpicking at each dollar amount, but at the end of the day, they still had the presidential initiatives to supplement that. So the commentary that we make is very important because it's taken to heart because what we heard over summer from the Senate is something that we applied this year. But again, we're not reducing that amount and we're giving each entity the flexibility to have the money that they need in order to accomplish their events. And if they have a little left over, then they're able to readapt that event or another event in the future as well. And that's kind of where I stand. And I agree that we are here for a reason and we are here to look into things in depth, but I think we just should go back and kind of reevaluate that in order to have a more fruitful debate tomorrow and not go back and forth on where we stand as a committee. So if nobody has any debate or discussion, I mean, that's entirely fine, but I did want to bring that back up because I know that some people were kind of hesitant and we were a little bit in discussion today. So just for the sake of time tomorrow, if anybody has any commentary, I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate one more time, again, it is perfectly justifiable if they see like a on a small minuscule amount where, something doesn't add up or, some, real, genuine question that is kind of unclear due to the presentation or how it's presented on the budget. That's all great. But as far as when we get into those small amounts relative to the overall budget, because again, 207,000. So when we're talking about, $300, $1,000, that is very minuscule in, the relative comparison to what we're dealing. And, tomorrow is when we'll be seeing the 3 big departments. So I think that, leaving kind of our, some of the debate as to, we'll actually be dealing with a lot more bigger amounts and stuff. So just, another thing just to keep in mind, especially tomorrow, to hold, our debate at a minimum when it comes to very small, amounts relative to the overall budget, unless, again, if it's a real criticism or, there's a mistake or something. And yeah, but if there is a quick, discussion on something, that's good. But once we start getting, in a circle debate or something, that's kind of like, if I see that tomorrow, I will kind of try to shut that off. So, another thing, I know Brody, messaged me to say that is, for everyone who has to submit their work hours, please do. Just a reminder to everyone that hasn't yet. So I think that's talking about Senate wise. So anybody who needs to submit their hours online, please do that as a reminder. I swear I had something else that I wanted to say in mind. It just lost me. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, we can go back to the fiscal bill and just recap everything we've made, unless someone has a debate or yeah.
I was just gonna say, kind of going off of what Sabrina said, I definitely agree 100% with all of that and making sure that we keep our priorities in mind. The one thing I do want to say, since I have kind of challenged myself to kind of call out any sort of less than helpful to the student body type things that the committee usually does, and I'm sure those of you that have been on the committee in the past have seen negative tendencies that the committee has had. This has not been apparent this year so far, and I do want to say I'm very impressed by that. I was keeping tabs on how long we spent on questioning and debate for the two really big branches for both exec and Senate. Usually that takes about 2 hours. We did it in 17 minutes. So I am incredibly impressed with that, and I know that, in relation to the amount of time that we spend all day on that, it's very small. But I think it also says a lot about making sure that we're respecting what the leadership puts out as well. So that's a very big kudos to all of these lovely women in leadership. Actually, all these women love it. But I will say, just for tomorrow, I am probably apt to not make any sort of open public debate, and I wouldn't do private debate either, but just I wouldn't want to debate anything in terms of tomorrow with the big departments, because I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself consistent with keeping it up in mind with tomorrow. Usually I always look at OCO items and things like that, and I'll probably do the same thing tomorrow, but I do want to make sure we give, Falco and Jim, a good fair chance with presenting what they think. But I would also challenge the committee as well to make sure that we're asking them what kind of cuts they think they should make, because at the end of the day, they are the experts, which is why we spend so much time talking about student government stuff, because, you all are the experts on student government, right? So just things to keep in mind for tomorrow, but I'm incredibly proud to be on this committee, and that is something that I have not said in 4 years. So I thank you all for that. Appreciate that.
Can I add just something clarification? So yeah, I want to make clear, I didn't want to discuss what we'd be debating tomorrow, because I know that was a point that I made on our Zoom call, not to do that. I meant more of, I think throughout debate, we had conversations about where we are as a committee, and I wanted to see if anybody needed clarification. Again, we can all have differing opinions, but again, just not that back and forth tomorrow. So we're focusing on fruitful debate of the actual department, because it's almost unfair for them to have to sit through our conversations about us as a committee as a whole. So that's kind of what I meant more than anything. But it's been a pleasure serving with you all, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
And again, so if no one has any other pieces of debate on that regard, I do want to just briefly share my screen and just take a look at the whole budget request packet, and just to show, to illustrate just where we're at, and show the overall numbers, just in case anybody watching not able to see. And also, I do want to mention, after looking back, there is a very minor error that's when originally counting for. So this was in regards to MSC, which I believe we'll be seeing tomorrow. There was a $3,000 OPS increase that I didn't catch. So the deficit is just, instead of $46,700, it's $49,000. It's only $3,000, but just wanted to kind of throw that in there, that there was a small error, but everything else looks good. So other than that, yeah, I will briefly share my screen. Everyone should be able to see it.
Are we just looking at the overall bill? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So far on the summary page, our total, right now is $3,634,475. Again, we have a $20.7 million budget, and the bulk of where the money is going to be spent will likely be tomorrow from, RWC, OSI, the student union likely, but we are in good shape. Aside from minor changes everything has been consistent with what was sent in budget packets. If we take a look at what we've seen, everything was relatively good. So I just kind of wanted to show the total, and you don't really need to go back and look at every minute budget line. And if you do want to do that, the minutes, everything should be in there to detail that. But again, as far as where we're at is currently, expended $3,634,000. And so taking into account that 3,000 increase in the OPS for MSC, the initial target amount we're over right now is $49,746. So is there any questions or anything on that in that regard? Anything? All right, if not, if anyone has any other discussion, if that's not the case, take a motion. Yes, Steph.
Move to go to miscellaneous business.
All right, there's been a motion to go to miscellaneous business. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah.
Motion to adjourn pending final roll call.
All right, there's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Natalia?
Chair Tifo.
Here.
I am here. President LaRosa. Vice President Blanco. Here. Speaker Custis.
Here.
Chair Millington.
Here.
Chair Maldonado.
Here.
Chair Kaltenbach.
Here.
Thank you. Vice Chair Hansen.
Here.
Senator Bonducci.
Here.
Senator Young. Here. Senator St. Preux. Present. Senator Savage. I don't think he's on the call. Student at Large Brando.
Here.
Student at Large Jimenez.
Here.
And then grad student at large Scott. Here. All right.
So with that, I hereby adjourn pending final roll call at 3:43 p.m. Thanks so much, all. See y'all tomorrow.
9 a.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Yep, same time. Thank you.
So, starting later tomorrow.